Hello and welcome back to my channel. This week I want to make something to represent St. Patrick's Day, which is going to be coming up soon. And although I don't celebrate it, it does mean a lot to my nephew, who went over there a couple of years ago to Dublin and got engaged to his wonderful girlfriend. They've been back since and it really means a lot to them. So I'm going to make them something. I've got this spring green Arteza Mica powder, and I'm going to put that into some UV resin. I've already got a little bit of glitter in here. This is from another project. I'm using the Stamping Up Dazzling Diamonds glitter. So I'm just going to add a little spoonful of the mica powder, and then I'm going to use this cabochon mould. There's lots of gems. I actually only want to use the hearts, and there are 2 hearts on here of the same size, which is great. So I'm just going to mix in this powder, make sure that I get rid of all the lumps. Wow, that is very vivid green. Beautiful. Okay, make sure all the powder's mixed in, and then I'm going to put some into the heart-shaped mould. And because this is quite a thick green, it looks like a very solid opaque colour, I'm going to make this in layers, and I'll do 2 at the same time and keep filling them up until I get this level with the surface. Then I'll pop them under the lamp to cure, and then I'll just have to make 1 more, as I'm going to need 3 hearts. For this next bit, I'm going to use this rectangle mould, but I really don't want this post here, which you use to put your rings through. So I think I'm going to cut that off. It doesn't want to pull off. I do have a similar mould, a same mould actually, so I will leave that one with the post on, and this one I'm just going to cut it off. So I've got it almost level. I've got a small raised area, but I can fill that in afterwards. But yeah, there's a little raised bit there. That will be fine. It will mark my resin, but I can give that a top coat and that'll be fine. So now I've mixed up some of more of the green resin, and I'm going to fill this mould. So I put a little layer in. I'm going to be making it again in layers, and then I'll use this silicone tool to make sure I get right to the edge, and I'll scrape along the edges. I want to make sure that there are no bubbles trapped, because I've thickened this resin with the mica powder. And once I've got a layer along the bottom, I'm going to just use a long neck niter to run that over the top and get rid of any bubbles. Then I'll cure it. I'm going to carry on layering, but now I'm only going to use some clear resin. You'll see why later, why I want the backs to be clear. Put a healthy layer in there to fill it level with the surface. Make sure that there are no bubbles around the outside by running my dotting tool along the edges. And cure this. Okay, it's ready to demold now. And you can see that I've got the mark there, so I'm going to give it a top coat, and I'll cover it with more of the green. And so while I do that, I'm going to speed this up, put some music on, and I'll let you watch as I create this. And I'll need a white one and an orange one.
Under the stone grey sky, shamrocks dancing where the wild winds sigh. Carry the gold of the cold old soil, locks in the hands of the working toil. Raise your cups to the lucky and bold, where the tales of Ireland are timeless told. 3 leaves spinning like life's old wheel, fortune's charm you can touch and feel. leaf weathered under rain's hard pour, searching the earth for a little bit more. Found a leaf with a whisper, a song. Luck's in the heart where it's been all along. Raise your cups to the lucky and bold, where the tales of Ireland are timeless told. Three leaves spinning like life's old wheel, fortune's charm you can touch and feel. Dance to the jig of a shadow's glow, hear the laughter where the green hills grow, or the cliffs where the wide ocean roars. Luck rides strong on these timeless shores. The shamrock sprouts through the hardships fight, a promise of hope in the dimmest light. Carry it close neath the Irish moon, and sing to its tune by the firelit dune. Raise your cups to the lucky and bold, where the tales of Ireland are timeless told. Three leaves spinning like life's old wheel, fortune's charm you can touch and feel. There you go! Dance to the
Okay, so I finished making my rectangles, and I've got 3 of each colour, and I'm pretty sure you've guessed that they are now the colours of the Irish flag. I'm going to arrange these now onto this sheet. I'm just using, it's an old cricket mat that basically got destroyed, but it does still have some stickiness, and I'm going to arrange these into a frame, but I want to do it back to front because I'm going to be gluing on the back, or using the UV resin, bonding resin, which is why I wanted this to be clear on the back, so that when I shine the torch through, it will be able to still cure the resin. So I'm going to arrange these, and I have to build it back to front. So this will, when I turn it over, will be in the top left hand corner of my frame. So for now I'm going to lay it down here in the, and then the next colour will be white. Just try and get those lined up, and then I'll need an orange. Back to the green. I'm going to start coming down, and white, orange, green again, and we'll start going up, white, whoops, and the last one, orange. Let me feed that one in first. Right, so I just want to make sure that these are all lined up and square. Try and get them as square as possible. And now I can use the UV resin to just bond these together along the seams. So I'm going to need to get some gloves on for that. Right, I've just zoomed in a little bit, and I'm just going to put a small blob of my resin on the edge of this mat. I can get it to come out and not just be bubbles. Now that'll do. So I'm going to pick that up with my silicone tool and run that along the edge, the seam here. And I'm hoping that some of it will trickle down. I don't want it to trickle down to the front, but I do just want it to be enough to bond this on the back. Again, make sure that's lined up. And in your kit, you get a little USB chargeable UV torch. So I'll use that to cure it. Takes very little time, about 5 seconds. But but I'm going to make sure that it has a little bit more than that. Once this has all been bonded, I'm going to put a top coat of just clear UV resin on the back, just to make sure that there is one solid piece behind. Okay, let's do the next bit. So make sure these are lined up and scoop up some of the resin and put that along the seam. And again, use the torch. So this is all I'm going to be doing for now, so I will do the rest of that, and once I'm ready to put the top coat on, I'll be back. Okay, I'm just doing the last bit now, and that should be held together enough for me to put the top coat on. So let's see if I dare move it around. Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to use the Let's Resin UV resin and put the top coat over the back and then cure that.
Under the stone grey sky, shamrocks dancing where the wild winds sigh. Carry the gold of the cold old soil, locks in the hands of the working toil. Raise your cups to the lucky and bold, where the tales of Ireland are timeless told. 3 leaves spinning like life's old wheel, fortune's charm you can touch and weathered under rain's hard pour, searching the earth for a little bit more. Found a leaf with a whisper, a song, luck's in the heart where it's been all along. Raise your cups to the lucky and bold, where the tales of Ireland are timeless told. 3 leaves.
Okay, I've got my 3 hearts, and I've just arranged them so that their points are touching in the middle. And I'm going to use some of the same green UV resin that I used to make them to put a dot in the middle that will bond all 3 hearts together. And then I'm going to pop that under my lamp, and I'll leave that to cure. Okay, so now I need to make a little stalk. I've got some 3mm flat bezel wire, and I've got a pair of flat nose pliers. So I'm just going to grab a section of that and bend it round, and I will let go of that piece. Grab that right next to that bend that I've just put in and bend that piece up so that I get a kind of triangle really. Now I might need to just chop that level, so I've got a pair of snips and I'm going to cut that off just level to that section there. I'm using some UV bonding resin to fix the stalk to the rest of the shamrock, and then I will cure that. And then I can fill it with the same green that I used to make the shamrock and cure that. Okay, so I've got my frame, I've got my shamrock, and I've printed out a photograph, and now I need a way to hold that into the back. So what I've done is I've made a template which I've cut out of acetate to make a kind of envelope. So I've pre-scored it. I've got my Cricut to cut this out and score it. So I'm hoping that the score lines are deep enough for me to, yeah, just fold it, that's okay. And I've made a template just big enough to overlap and fit the back of this frame. So it will have a tab here, which I will glue on there, and then a little tab on the bottom, which will also be glued. I can fold that over. So I'm just folding along my score lines. There we go. Make sure that they are folded properly. And then I can, and it creates a small pocket which I can fix to the back of this, and then I can slot my photo in. So I'm just going to lay this flat on the table now. Right, then I'm going to use some red liner tape to stick this together. This is really strong and it does stick acetate really well. So let me peel a bit off, and I'm going to put that along the bottom here, and if I stick it up the top here, that should mean that when I go to slip my photograph in, it's bonded really well to that top there. That will fit over the back nicely. So let me peel this up. Then I can fold that flat, make sure it's lined up along the bottom. And then I can put this along this side, also with liner tape. That gives me my little pocket that I can slip my photo in and out of. And I will turn that over to the back now. So that's going to be stuck down. Just make sure that this lines up. Oops, that's sticking to my finger. So I've just got to make sure that I get this lined up so that I will be able to see the photo in the front. Let me move that over a little tiny bit. Can arrange it afterwards. So I just need to glue this now to the back. So let me take that out of there, put that over there for now. And I'm going to glue it with the seams on the back so that I get a nice clean piece on the front. I'm going to use a combination of the red liner tape to hold it down and some probably E6000, no, B7000, because that's what I've got here. So I'm just going to put some up the edges here and a little bit along the bottom, and then I can add some liner tape on here, red liner tape, just to hold that in place until that sets off. If I can find the end of it. There we go. So I only need a small amount. Just snip a few pieces off. Hold that down. Okay, I'm going to put something heavy on the back of this just to keep this held down until all the glue sets, and then I will be able to flip it over and glue on my Shamrock. So I'll be back when I'm ready for that. Okay, so I quickly realized that I'd actually stuck that onto the wrong side because I'd flipped this back over again. So I've corrected that and I've stuck it to the back. So I've got my photo in there. I've used my Cricut to cut out an Irish saying, which equates to something like "the luck is on me." So I'm going to use a little bit of masking tape now just to transfer this across. I'm going to do a reverse weed on it because this is very small writing. So I will stick that on there. Make sure the masking tape is stuck down, and then I can peel off my backing. hopefully the words will come out and will stick. So here I go, pulling them off. That's it. So now I can peel out, hopefully, peel out the centres. Take out the middle. I'm just going to go ahead and do that, take all the middles out, because it's going to take me a few minutes, and I'll be back once I've weeded it. Okay, I've got that weeded now. I'm going to cut this into strips, or just separate the letters, because I don't want to end up with half a letter across a join. So let me take these letters, I'm going to put those on my green section, and then the next bit I want to cut the, I am not even going to attempt to pronounce this, and I'm trusting that Google is right and hasn't given me something rude. Anybody who knows Irish can confirm that this does say what I think it does. That would be great. So I'm going to lay that one there. It looks about straight. And then the last one, that's going to go there. Okay, so I'm just going to use the side of my scissors, and then I will peel back my masking tape. I'm kind of pushing down on my vinyl and peeling it back at the same time, although I managed to pull that section up. There we go. Let's do the next bit. Because it's very thin letters, you don't have a lot of sticky on the back of the vinyl, so it does require you to be a bit careful when you're peeling the tape off. Push it down with my fingers. Nope, go back down. I don't want to maneuver. Come on. Right, I might have to peel that line off and stick that on myself. Let's see if I can get that to come off my masking tape, even just a little bit. There we go. And the last piece, make sure that's rubbed down, stick it down with my fingers. There we go. So now that's left to be done is just to stick my Shamrock down in the corner, and I'm going to use the B7000 for that again, because I don't think I'll be able to what I might do is put this in the middle and then try and use a little bit of the UV resin just to get an immediate bond. So what's on there? So there we go, let's stick that there. And then I can use a tiny bit of the UV bonding resin just to pop that there. So I'm going to get my gloves on and do that. You don't really need to see that, you've seen me glue things on before. And once this is all completely set, I will take some photos with it. This is my nephew and his lovely fiance. They got engaged in Dublin and it means a lot to them. They've been back a couple of times, so I'm going to give this to them. I hope you have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day if you celebrate it. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and comment. I want to thank all my wonderful subscribers who've joined in their droves. I am so grateful, and I hope that you will come back and see what I'm going to make next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.